Hello everybody, welcome back. So this is gonna be a really fun one. Now we're gonna be doing Ginger Root characters. So I'm really excited to see what kind of crazy characters you guys came up with, what kind of body types, what poses you put them in, storytelling. None of that was required, but you guys always go above and beyond. So yeah, let's jump in. Let's see what you did. Now, since this one was a really fun one, I'm going to filter by popularity so we can get the fun ones at the top. It's not a popularity contest, and I usually don't do the filtering by popularity, but for this one, I'm gonna start with the ones that you guys upvoted the most. All right, Moldestro, congratulations. You got the top post here. This was really fun. Identifying the shapes for building the Ginger Root people was quite challenging. Maybe I should have cleaned the lines more. Nah, you don't need to clean the lines more. These are great. Yeah, in fact, having a little bit of the expressive lines in there makes it feel like one of those concept designs for a Pixar movie or something, or DreamWorks or whatever. It feels like you're working on the ideas rather than just trying to get a clean image. But it works because your lines are actually really nice to look at, right? They feel very confident, even though sometimes they're not in the right spot, like that arm you shift it over later. Doesn't matter because those lines look nice. They look like you intentionally put them there and then you intentionally changed them to another place. They don't look like you were worried or afraid of drawing. They just look like you're having a lot of fun, and so it's fun to look at because of that. So that's why I don't mind the loose lines underneath. It's because they add to the drawing rather than take away. So don't mind them at all. So great job. Honestly, I actually don't have much to say about this. With this one, the cross contours along the torso are a little messy. And really it's just because they're like a little fragmented. That's really the problem, is you're not really showing a rubber band going around the belly or the chest. Same thing with the ones on the arm here. They're just straight lines. They don't help to show that form. So if you're gonna do cross contour, really show the form. Otherwise, they don't have any value. Unless you're trying to say that arm is just completely flat. But it's not. Let's see, Mon Barker. Whoa, what's going on there? That's the Ginger Root character, huh? Kind of looks like him. Oh, God. What was I expecting? Ay, ay, ay. I mean, very 3D. Is this guy sitting on the toilet or is he flexing? I can't tell. I love how the biceps are these like additional bulbs on top. It's pretty much what this guy looks like. Just looks like little bulbous tumors. That can't be real, right? That's not a real dude. That's impossible. I know my anatomy. I know that can't be a thing. Oh God, it's the same dude with his, oh jeez. That is so creepy, man. Why did you do that? Moving on. Damn. I'm getting some allergies, I'm sorry. My Ginger, with photo reference. Oh man, okay, I love this. Let me see. I love it, I love it. I don't know how many of you guys actually ended up doing this. I think I suggested it in the project instructions, but this is great. Great execution of it. I feel like you could have done a better job showing the top of this torso kind of going away from us. It's not as clear on here as, on this guy. Where, yeah, you're making up your own character, whatever, but it's kind of an important part of the gesture. And I think by separating these into 3 blobs, where each shoulder has its own little blob, and the shoulders look like they're coming at us, that kind of hurts the gestural effect of the pose. Because, yes, you want this to look like a kind of a organic, kind of rooty Ginger Root type of character, but you also want it to feel gestural and like it's alive and actually can function as a thing. And I think it's just the way you handled the design of the shoulders to the torso, it doesn't feel right. This guy though, very good. I could totally feel how the body, the shoulders and the belly are coming at us in the same way, kind of curving a little bit. Yeah, overall just really good. All the depth, the overlaps of this arm overlapping the head, this shoulder overlapping the bicep. Yeah, just really, really good on this one. Good job. A+. Patrick, let's see what you got. Sketchy Ginger Dudes. This was a fun little puzzle. It kept my Starting gesture blob's pretty close to some poses I was familiar with, but I played with the proportions more in the blob phase and started to explore different ways to exaggerate the shapes and contrast character types. I think I could have kept them a little more abstract and root-based, but I found this exercise very freeing. Yeah, if you just showed me these, I would not think Ginger Root, but they are fun characters, for sure. And honestly, not as much cross-contour in these as I would have liked for this exercise. This, to me, it feels like you were more exploring different character types rather than trying to practice cross-contour on kind of blobby forms. So that's fine. I mean, you're designing characters, that's cool. Probably just got a little distracted with a fun thing that you were excited to do. All right, Lensard. There you go. These are much more blobby. Yeah, very blobby. Not really gingery. I mean, you got a lot of parts on these that don't look very organic. Mostly the heads are either blocks or pyramids. And that definitely takes away from the Ginger Root feeling of it because they just don't feel organic. But the bodies and the fingers, they all look really good, very organic. Very three-dimensional, like super dynamic poses, like coming right at us and we're looking straight up at this guy. So yeah, another great example of this exercise. Oh, page 2 is even better. My gosh, I love it. This is great. This is really, really good. This is ending up as like a little showcase of good work. Oh man, the third page is even better. Great job. That is awesome. No comments other than that looks amazing. Let's move on. Mike C. These are really good too. Yeah, I'm sorry if this video just ends up being completely useless because you guys are just doing really good work. But I mean, happy to see it. Okay. This is more of like realistic Ginger Root characters, right? Like if people were actually made out of Ginger Root. Or even just tree people, any kind of organic plant-like person. That's pretty cool though. I like it. I really like this little guy on the right with the belly and the one on the bottom. Really good poses. Just feels really good. Like the one on the bottom just looks like this guy's relaxing, posing for a photo, and lots of depth. Not just in the cross contours, but in your line quality, the shape design. Everything just adds to the effect of depth. Yeah, I like it. Amazing. Okay, these are crazy. Let's see. Okay, another one from some photo reference. All right, well, he's definitely going to break his leg as soon as he hits anything. It's just going to snap back, or she. They're definitely three-dimensional. I mean, you got your cross contours going, all that. You got your overlaps. But something about it just feels a little bit flatter than it should be. Maybe it's the pose, or maybe it's just the amount of randomness. There's just a little bit too much randomness everywhere that the design doesn't hold up. Everything it feels so abstract, it's hard to see the character in there. And it's also getting really busy in this middle part, like really busy, and it's hard to understand what's happening because it's so busy. You got to pick a few elements and then kind of really tone down everything else in this area specifically. But yeah, there's just so much weird kind of like random melting and deformations on the forms everywhere that it just doesn't feel like this character could function. Like if he tried to stand up, he would fall over or break a leg or something because it just doesn't feel like he could walk. This is much better. This is much more clarity in the forms, simple where it needs to be. You could have simplified a few more things in some of these areas, but overall, actually, really nice. I think this one feels more three-dimensional. I'm getting that depth because it doesn't have the same errors that the other one had, the same issues. Let's see. This one, again, some of that same stuff where just getting really busy in here. I can't tell that leg is coming at us because it's just melting with all the, kind of just mushing together with all the other lines in that area. And then not sure what's happening here just because there's too much randomness. You need to think about the major forms and how they're relating to each other, and then keep that crazy waviness down to a minimum. Not a minimum, but like just tone it down a little bit because it's kind of hurting. Like I know that you might be thinking that putting all that in is gonna add to your gesture, and it does, but it takes away from the structure when you have that much waviness. Your structure is just completely gone. So you got to put that structure back in so it feels like this person could actually stand up without breaking a leg. Yeah, this one's nice. Good silhouette. This one works because the silhouette is strong. Cool. Well, thank you, Jayoshi. Let's see, flow. All right. Okay. Yeah, there's parts of it that feel very three-dimensional and then parts that are flattening out. Like the way you handled the area around the mouth, it just feels like the mouth is like a two-dimensional shape that was kind of glued on top. It doesn't feel like all the forms are wrapping around. Like the nose is wrapping into the mouth and then the chin is wrapping into the mouth. It feels like a cutout shape on top of this. But then all these other areas, like the belly looks really strong. You know, the knuckles are good. I think the line quality could help with yours quite a bit. It's getting a little messy in there, and not in a good way. Not where it's like, yeah, your messy lines are confident. It's like, nah, like the way you're like rubbing your hand all over, and that happens to me all the time too, and I hate it. And so I think it's kind of destroying some of your line work in there. This one's interesting. Take that one in a Photoshop. This one has that snowman effect going on where you have symmetrical curves, you know, from here to here, just symmetrical. Here to here, it doesn't, I mean, that one you have a straight and a curve, so that's a little bit better. But there is no balancing back and forth. It's just here to here, here to here, here to here, and you have that going throughout the entire body. What you can do is modify some stuff, just move things around to kind of help push things into more of a zigzag, and also just pick an area to pick a side that's going to be a little bit more simple. I think one reason a lot of yours don't flow is because there's just so much activity everywhere in the contours. So like with the legs, for example, let's pick the inside to be more simple. So I'm going to have it flow like that. And then I'm just going to keep a lot of your decisions and then just change only what I think needs to really change. And on this side, I'm going to have more activity, but not everywhere. Like this whole area on the outside needs to feel like it's pushing out. And this crease that you have right here, I think is really hurting that effect. So I'm going to have this belly like that, just like you have it. I'm not going to change that. But then here, I'm going to move that big bump down more. And so that does two things. One is it makes this area here not pinch as much. And two, it makes this peak and this peak more diagonal from each other. And then notice how I've removed in here that detail of the kind of the inside bump of the knee. I've simplified it so that when I have this one, okay. All right, whatever. And then this foot can do whatever it wants to do. But now if we hide yours, you can see how it doesn't have as much of that randomness and that snowman effect. It feels like there's a continuation down the form this way, and then this also continues, this flow continues down on the other side as well. So if I were to think of the overall gesture, it would be kind of like this, flowing like so. Okay, so I'm still thinking of the gesture and how the forms flow from one to the other while still, you know, also creating these lumpy areas. Because if you just go too much of just lumps without flow, then it doesn't look like a character actually in action doing stuff. Just doesn't look believable anymore. All right, let's do the same thing on this other leg. So I'm gonna do the same thing. On the inside, I'm gonna simplify it quite a bit. And I like how this feels like it's locked in, so I'm gonna straighten this whole part. And then on this top part, to break up this kind of, again, the snowman effect that you have going on, I'm gonna break this top part into two forms, and then this bottom part into this one form, which you can see now creates like a zigzag like this. It doesn't feel like the snowman anymore. You know, it looks like this, right? That's not a snowman. That has peak here, and peak here. So it's got this going on instead of just boop, and then another one, boop, and then another one, boop. So that's bad, but you can easily improve this design. You just have to remember to do it. And I think the reason you didn't remember to do this because you haven't ingrained it into your, into your habits yet. It's not intuitive yet to be able to avoid that kind of design. And you can have some parts that are kind of symmetrical. Like I'm gonna keep the knee in here pretty much symmetrical like how you had it. I'm not gonna change it too much. But if it's everything, that's when it just becomes really stiff and you lose the gesture. And then in here, let's bring this up a little bit and that'll break it up. I'm just gonna clean up this leg as well. All right, there you go. So now if we come back in and we show a few cross contour lines, and then it starts to feel kind of three-dimensional, but also has structure and gesture working together. Still kind of random. I'm trying to keep as much of your pose and design as I can, again, while correcting some of the things that I see as flaws. All right, there you go. Cool, hope that helps. A lot of that was about shape rather than cross contour, but I think it's an issue with a lot of people's ginger characters here. So I think it's worth revisiting in this exercise specifically. All right, moving on, Mickman Jesse. These are cool. The designs in these ones are actually kind of nice. Definitely no symmetry that is bugging me. Lots of variety, really interesting shapes. A little bit harder to figure out what's actually happening, but that's okay. Like I could tell this is his head, his body, 2 legs. I'm just not sure. I guess that's an arm holding a cane or something, but it's okay. I mean, these are supposed to look a little strange and organic. So yeah, this one, I couldn't tell what was happening right away, but after just like 3 seconds, I figured out, okay, that's the head. There's an arm. He's holding something. So overall, I think they're pretty strong. I mean, definitely the cross contours are working exactly how they should. Like, I mean, especially in this form right here on the, I guess that's the arm. You've got this like twisty thing, and you handled it really well. Like, I mean, that looks extremely three-dimensional, and I can just feel that twists. Yeah, perfect. Great job. Dave, we got some cool characters here. You got Groot, Iron Man, and King Kong, I guess? Yeah, that's King Kong. Yeah, Groot pretty much looks like a ginger character, yeah. Yeah, solid. Iron Man's cross contours look a little flat. You're doing that T thing where you're just running it right into the edge. Wrap it around. Show more of that roundness. Same thing on King Kong. They're just, boop, they're just running right into that wall. Oh, Johannes, let's see what you got. Okay. I'm guessing these are from reference. Yeah, these look like this one of the lady with the hands up on her forehead looks really good. Very, very strong forms on that. Oh, I love this. I love the stitch. Very good, very good. I'm not sure that it's good because of the cross contours. I think the cross contours are actually kind of lacking in this one. It's mostly just your shape design is just very well executed. The cross contours on her are very good. So solid, A plus or A minus. Could have been a little bit better on this first one. These look a little not as strong as the other ones, let's just say. Cross contours are a little flat. The shapes are a little boring. Oh, another one from Dave. Oh, Popeye is awesome. Okay, so see, in Popeye, you have them wrapping around a lot more. And so it feels so much more like I could just grab onto his forearm. Yeah, great Popeye. These other ones are a little better than your previous page, but not as good as Popeye. I think when you're really wrapping them around, it just feels very three-dimensional. So great job. That's a Michelin Man, right? Like literally, you can't get any more snowman effect than that guy, right? Notice how much more dynamic Popeye looks because you don't have as much symmetry. Maybe just down here, this one part has symmetry, and then the forearms. But because it's not everywhere, because the majority of the body doesn't have that symmetry, these areas where there is symmetry, they actually just look like heavy and bulbous. And then you still have that gesture and action going on in the middle. So it can work. It's not like everything has to lose its symmetry. You can have areas of symmetry, but it has to be balanced with things that are not symmetrical. Otherwise, you get this Michelin Man. These are great side-by-side comparisons of that, the effect I'm talking about. Tori, this is good. This looks like a band or something. The Ginger Roots. Just trying to figure out what kind of band they are. They're like a emo, screamo, a little punk. Probably just like a classic rock cover band. That's what I'm seeing here. For the cross contours, I'll give you a B on this one. I think they're good. There's a lot of them that feel really nice. And then there's others that just feel like they're just a little too straight in areas where you really could have curved them. You know, like for this guy, we're just kind of looking at him straight up and down. So nothing's really coming at us. So I understand why so many of them are straight. But this guy, like everything's coming at us. Right, like the legs, everything's just coming right towards us. So there's just so much opportunity for more curvature. Still, you have a lot of these that are very straight. Because of that, B+. Okay, so this is, I'm guessing, kind of that level 1 random blobs put together. And yeah, it looks like random blobs. I mean, you did exactly that. That's great. The cross contours on them do a pretty good job showing the forms of whatever they are. I mean, they're very random. But it looks like you're making a decision about what the form should be, and you're sticking with it, and then you're showing it with the cross contours. Some of them are a little too straight, like that little guy right there. But overall, pretty good. Wow, how'd you get that to be blurry, Fabian? Did you do that on purpose? It looks like it's digital, and then you added some blur on top. But anyway, really great cross contours on this. I mean, do you guys see how by even adding that little tail, it's a little bit of a transparent effect? It feels so much more three-dimensional. I mean, you're obviously not going to keep that if you're drawing like a portrait. You're not going to show the back of the head or something like that. But this just proves that most curvy part, when you show as much of it as you can, it adds way more depth than showing that middle part. Let's see, Connie. You got some photo reference of people. And then cross contours. Okay, so yeah, with you, similar stuff that I've mentioned. Basically, yeah, cross contours. You got that T intersection. You got the snowman effect going on everywhere. A lot of the same stuff that I mentioned already, and so I'm not gonna go too deep into that. But overall, really fun characters. Looks like you had a lot of fun with it. I love the hair. You used the little bulbous branches on top of the head to indicate hair. It matches really well with this character, so that's awesome. But yeah, overall, just take the advice I've given to so many other people now and try to implement that. I think it could really benefit you based off of what I'm seeing here. And really scratchy lines on these, but it's okay. Because it seems like this was just idea exploration. You're just trying to find your shapes. Personally, I would really push you to try to develop a more dynamic, attractive line quality, even in your sketches. But when you're doing explorations, you shouldn't really care about line quality, because then it's a distraction of the more important thing, which is actually designing attractive shapes. It's kind of a balance. Practice your lines, practice your shapes. Eventually, they'll kind of come together. Okay, Hartman, with you, similar thing going on here where the gesture in yours is starting to break a little bit of the structure. Just a little bit too far. I would like to see a little bit more structure to kind of solidify these guys, ground them in reality. Just feel like flappy water balloons or something, you know? Basically with the rest of these, it feels like the same issues that I've already gone through, so I'm not gonna repeat. Nathan thinks this was a very fun assignment to work on, and I agree. I think this is one of the funnest ones so far. It was hard coming up with poses from imagination, especially dynamic ones. Yep. But it was challenging in a good way. Let me know what I can improve on. Yeah, I think this is a really good assignment to kind of balance that idea of focusing on trying to come up with cool characters and dynamic poses while also giving you that freedom to mess up, because they're like funky little masses of blobs and stuff. And so you have a lot of leeway to mess up. Whereas if you're drawing people, the anatomy, you get it a little bit wrong and it just looks weird. So these are great to just do occasionally when you want to work on just design and poses and characters and all that without worrying about anatomy. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, Nathan. I enjoyed it as well. I think a lot of you guys did too. So yeah, I think that's about it. Everything else just seems like a lot of the same issues that I've already mentioned. So I don't want to waste your time. Thank you very much, guys. We're gonna move on to dynamic boxes. It's not just boxes. They're boxes that we can deform, but still have that feeling of boxiness in them. It's gonna be fun, trust me. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.